say yoo-hoo to the top-notch Thomas Robson-Kanu. This is so much fun.
Wow.
Thank you for helping us try out if product placement works on this show or not. I think it might, don't you?
I think so. Look at
Okay,
that.
Thomas, first questions first. How do you know our boss, Scott?
Scott, so he's a family friend. Yeah. So a family friend of ours. And it's quite a small world when you put it into
Because
perspective.
he came to see us today about something else. He said, "Oh, you got my friend on today." He said, he snuck in under the radar, didn't he? That's cool, man.
Amazing. No, it's a pleasure to be here.
So do you hang out with him where he lives? Are you around there?
Same. We live in the same area.
The same hood?
Yes.
All
same
right,
hood.
beautiful.
Exactly.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
All right, so the headlines of your life, something like you played football, you were a goalie first of all.
Yes.
So he plays in goal, and then one day they're missing their striker, so you play out of goal. The opposing team is up 4-0. You then score 5 goals.
Yep.
The regular goalie scores 5 goals, so they never let you back in goal again. You play the next 20 matches for the same team. You score 70 goals.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were that good, or?
So I was about 8 at the time.
Yeah.
So putting it in perspective.
Well,
but,
hang on, it's still 70 goals.
Yeah. So I just had a massive passion for football.
Right.
And that was my release for it.
So did you know when you were stuck in goal, did nobody believe that you were that good out of goal?
I don't think they did. I think they thought that he just loved being in goal. My favourite keeper at the time was Peter Schmeichel.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was just obsessed with football, and I enjoyed being in goal, but I just love football. So
Wow.
Yeah.
But obviously you knew you were a better striker than a goalie.
yes,
But
I
just
did.
nobody else.
Yeah, I did.
That's so
I did.
funny.
And then went on and then got scouted by Arsenal as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Joined their academy.
So you stayed at Arsenal for 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this was under Arsene Wenger's reign.
Yeah, the Invincibles. It was immaculate. Everything at Arsenal during that period of time,
Yeah.
that taught me about precision, perfection,
Professionalism.
professionalism. Exactly.
All right,
So-
and then you were devastated, weren't you? So after 5 years, they let you go. Just tell us about that morning. What happened?
Yeah, so that was Liam Brady was the academy manager
Legend.
of Arsenal, exactly, and he basically sat me down and said, "Look, we don't think you're going to be big enough to compete in Arsenal's first
So it's a
team."
physical thing.
Physical thing, and I was a late developer, so I was still relatively small.
Right.
So 15 years of age, you begin to talk about professional contracts, playing in the first team, and he just said, "Look, we don't think you're going to be big enough, so we're going to release you." So
This is pre-Michael Jordan because he was sent away to grow. Do you remember that?
yeah,
When he was 16, 17.
Yes, okay,
They sent him away to grow.
grow,
He
wow.
grew and he came back. Liam Brady should have thought about that. So Reading heard about this.
Yeah.
What happened next?
And so Brendan Rodgers was the academy manager of Reading at
Right.
the time, and he was putting a group of players together that he wanted to fast track into the first team. Realised that I was now available, having been released by Arsenal, and he called me up and said, "Look, we want to take you to Reading Football Club."
Right, and things worked out really well at Reading.
Well, they did. So not initially. So I joined at 15.
Yeah,
and
that's how all this happened. But we'll get to that in a moment.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I managed to break through at Reading, broke into the first team, managed to play for Wales. My grandmother was Welsh, so qualified for them, and managed to have a career at the top flight of professional football.
Amazing. Okay, and you left Reading, you went to West Bromwich Albion, and you were also offered deals in China and Saudi.
China, Saudi.
Big, stupid money deals.
Yeah, silly
money.
money deals, yes.
Not stupid, sorry, silly.
Silly money. Yeah, silly money. But,
It's a fine line.
but it wasn't. My dream was always to play in the Premier League.
Right.
I wanted to, loved English football, British football, and I personally didn't want to go abroad.
Right.
So, yeah.
So West Brom in the Premiership beats the big bucks in China or Saudi.
It did, yeah.
And that's what-
Under Tony Pulis.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he wanted the kind of player you loved. How do you describe the way you played for him?
So I'd say it was direct, but also very physical.
Right.
So he wanted physical players, strikers who could run into the channels.
Yeah, he had. You suited his sort of strategy
I
of
did.
how to play football.
Exactly.
All right, so much to talk about. All right, okay, by the way, we are here to talk about this, but let's just keep that fire burning, those embers burning a little bit. So you talked on Peter Crouch's brilliant podcast about being a boot boy and the fact that doesn't happen nowadays,
Yeah.
and you think it should. So tell us your experience of being a boot boy. Some of the perks, especially when it comes to Christmas tips, depending on which player you're the boot boy for, and why you think it should still happen.
Yeah, so I joined when I was at Reading. You always assigned a boot boy to the first team squad,
Right?
And so, firstly, as a young player in any sporting environment, it's a way to get interaction with the first team,
And you're around the heat.
and you're around. And so, for me, I learned a lot just by handing my boots to the first team player. Who, I had Dave Kitson, I had Steve Sidwell, I had Graham Murty for a time, and these are senior players playing in the Premier League, and it was almost like seeing them in real life was as valuable as not, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't believe it, can you? You can't believe you're in front of them and you're in charge of their boots, and you'll take that, won't you? And some.
But it was the discipline that I personally learned, and every single player who cleaned boots, you learn. Like, you would have to, December mornings, you would be up 6 a.m. cleaning the boots, breaking the ice. I still remember breaking the ice on the training
Part of the
pitch.
gig.
Part of the gig. And so for me, I felt that was quite a formative period for me in my early years of playing professional football. So unfortunately, I don't think it's that common in professional football now. And I think you're missing an opportunity to really sort of ground young players in terms of what it actually takes to make it. So.
But of course, we're now in the days of young players changing hands for millions of pounds, aren't they? Before they even get anywhere near the first team.
Yeah.
All right, so please tell me this: how many pairs of boots do you think you've cleaned? Hundreds, thousands?
Yeah, possibly,
maybe thousands.
Yeah, I would say at least hundreds. Yeah.
All right. Can you just give us some tips on how to clean a pair of boots properly? How'd you do it?
So firstly, you need warm water.
Right.
Firstly, so warm water, soak the boots in water first.
Submerge them in water?
So the base of it. So you have to put the sole into the water.
Right,
You'd almost leave them on top.
So not the leather, not the uppers.
Not the leather, not the uppers, and then that softens all of the mud.
So a tray would be ideal then.
Tray would be ideal,
okay.
Exactly. And you had a boot bucket outside of the changing room, and then it's just you need a robust brush, and it's all about
like a nail brush or something like that.
No, so almost like a cleaning brush, so quite a thick brush, almost.
See, sorry about that. Of course, you're talking about the studs, aren't you? I'm more focused on the leather.
Yes.
What could you do? What can you do?
Yeah, so you need to clean that. It's all water. You don't use any chemicals, and then you would always have, you'd always put the leather material on top in terms of like that wax to make it soft. And
who was the best person from a tipping point of view in not first of all in your experience, and then generally, what was the word on the street? Yeah,
so this is going 2 decades back now.
Right.
But I would say Steve Sedwell was always a good tipper. But I also had Leroy Lita, and he had just joined Reading, and he said for every goal he scored in that season, he'd give me a £50 bonus.
Right, and how was that till Christmas? So
he had scored 9 goals till Christmas,
from September to December.
Yeah, massive.
And was Les Ferdinand like the GOAT for tipping? I heard he was like,
I think,
like a mega tipper.
There are some mega tippers out there. There are definitely. So, but I don't know if that happens anymore because you don't have the boot boys.
Oh my gosh! All right. Well, okay. Let's get onto this. So basically, if you've ever seen Breaking Bad, right? Thomas's dad is Walter White. Is that right?
I don't know if we can say that live on it, but no, from a natural fresh.
But that's what he reminded. Has anybody said that to you before?
It's been muted, yeah.
All right, I've never heard that. Because all those things, because you said, well, my dad was in my kitchen and he's cooking up the turmeric shots, and I need them for my knee, and then my mates are saying, can you get me some? Yeah. And you're like, well, he can only do 200 batches this week. Yeah.
That's literally what it was.
There
like.
are definitely parallels.
Yeah, there are.
Right, what happened?
So, as a 15-year-old, I'd left Arsenal, joined Reading, and they fast-tracked me into the first team. So I was playing with, training with senior players, playing in reserve team games, and in my third reserve team game, performing really well, the centre-half thought, I'm going to teach him a lesson. And he basically came in knee-high challenge, ruptured my anterior cruciate ligament, posterior cruciate ligament, medial ligament. So to put things in perspective, my left knee went beyond my right knee.
Right, so career-threatening.
Career-threatening. And to the point where I was rushed to the hospital, saw a surgeon, saw a specialist, and they did an arthroscopy where they look inside the knee and they said, look, every ligament in your knee is now ruptured. It's very unlikely that you're going to ever play without pain or restriction again. So there was a surgery to do it. It's a 12-month surgery, rehabilitation. Do you want to proceed? I said yes, went through the surgery, went through the rehabilitation. In my first game back, the same injury happened.
You're joking?
Yeah, so I went back to the same surgeon.
Because of another tackle or because it just recurred?
This one was more innocuous, like it was just a slight contact, but my knee gave way, completely ruptured again. And the surgeon basically said, you should really begin looking at a different career path because there's no way you're going to play or live without pain in your life again. And so he said, look, I wouldn't recommend going through the surgery because you're not going to play at the level you think you're going to play at now. But it's your choice. And I decided to do it. I went through with the surgery, went through another 12 months of rehabilitation, but everything the surgeon and doctor said came to fruition. I would wake up in the morning, my knee would be a balloon, hampered with constant inflammation, swelling in my knee, and I basically just couldn't shift it.
So you and your dad did what?
No, so I was then at a point in time, I spoke to the physios and doctors at the club and I said, look, I'm really struggling here. They said, well, we told you this was going to be the case, but here's some sort of standard medication.
Anti-inflammatories,
and I began taking this medication as a 17-year-old now, and within 2 weeks, my body had an adverse reaction. So I started...
So things got worse?
Worse, so started passing blood in my urine, severe nausea, couldn't sleep. And so it was at that point in time where my father and I basically began asking the question, like, there must be another way to reduce naturally pain, inflammation and swelling.
And so via the library, Google
Google wasn't what it is today.
Right.
So there are like herbs, there's books on medicines as spices, like herbal remedies. We looked at ancient Ayurvedic cultures, ancient Asian practices where they all use like natural ingredients to anecdotally, reduce pain, inflammation and swelling. And so we began coming across all of these raw ingredients, things like whole watermelon, so not just the flesh, the rind and the skin, things like pineapple, pomegranate, whole ginger roots and subsequently whole
They're your big five, aren't they? All right. And so when did you first put one into a bottle and sell it, and who did you sell it to, and how did that happen, and how do we get to like £100 million business
it's not
a couple of years?
So my father then...
That's where we are, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's we've done well. So we're producing hundreds of thousands
the
of
drinks
shots.
Are on Thomas.
No, so we're producing hundreds of thousands of our shots a week now. And it was a decade after using this blend, which basically allowed me to reduce pain, inflammation and swelling naturally. And we decided that actually, like, a lot of people around the world in the UK like just accept living in pain, and how can we make this available to everyone else? And so we basically set up a factory, figured out how to turn this into a scalable manufacturing process, and we launched the Turmeric Co in 2018, and within 4 weeks of selling our first product we received our first life-changing customer testimonial.
Amazing, mate, amazing. And now you've got a big company, you've just had huge investment from Earn Brew in over £10 million, and you're carrying on. And turmeric is the sort of superstar. This is the Lionel Messi of your range.
That is a
However,
lineup.
you do have some pretty good young pros, don't you, in the change room? What else you've got going on?
So we got lots in the pipeline. So it's all about innovation. It's like, how do we, for us, begin to make Britain healthy again, right? And it's like moving consumers towards natural, fresh, functional products that actually make a difference is what we're passionate about. So we've got, natural hydration in the pipeline. We've obviously got expansion in terms of the functional range. But like I said, my ambition for the business is to turn this business into our generation's healthy version of Coca-Cola.
Well, I mean, you're you're halfway there. Where would you say you are?
Oh, we've not even got started yet.
Oh my gosh.
So there's so much awareness, so much education, and like imagine in a decade, turmeric being prescribed by the NHS.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. It's good. I'm a big fan. I fully signed up. I know that Crouchy's a subscriber, isn't he? He was a subscriber before you came on his show. I love your product. I think it's amazing. Beetroot juice is another one that I take as well. Proven to improve your chances of running your PB by 13% during most long races and things like that. I'm so excited for you. What about America? What about around the rest of the world? Are we travelling yet?
We're working on it. So, but again, like our big focus is on the UK right now.
Where did you get this right?
23 million people live in pain.
You need more than 23, mate. Seriously, you need more than 23. It's all right for a football squad, but you need a bigger customer base than that. No, I know you know. We've got to talk about Wales, man.
Yes, definitely.
We have to, don't we?
Oh, come on, yes.
All right.
For sure.
2016 quarterfinals. It's the Euros. You're against second favourites Belgium. You then score this wonder goal. You out Cruyff. My kids at the Bisham Football Academy every Friday start their warm-ups with the Cruyff turn. Yeah, of course. And you did it for real in a tournament, and you can't really remember it, can you?
Yeah, no, I can remember it vaguely. It's a blur now, but it's 10 years ago now, so I can't believe it. But it was a massive moment for me, for Wales as a nation, to get through to the semi-finals of a major tournament, home nation. So it's World Cup year, Chris. So.
Yeah, I know it's World Cup year. But also, I understand that Gary Speed took the whole of Wales football to a different level. He changed it, didn't he?
He did.
God bless Gary Speed.
Yeah.
And he said one of the first things you had to do was to learn the Welsh national anthem. So who was your mentor for that then?
My mentor was one of my teammates, Neil Taylor. And yeah, he basically taught me over a 48-hour period the Welsh national anthem.
Well, your profile wouldn't be what it is without that goal, that wonder goal against Wales. Your dad, your determination, all the love that you've had, all the experiences, the highs and lows. You are the perfect exemplar of things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Depends on how you frame things. And so therefore, it would be bereft of me and wrong of both of us for you not to finish off this segment with the Welsh national anthem.
Are you ready? Have we got music? Yeah?
No, we haven't got music. No.
Have we got
It's a cappella. Yeah. Okay.
My hevlad had I han really me. Oh,
That's pretty good. We'll take it. And now, the team and I are going to get off our box on turmeric. Is that all right?
Definitely.
If people want to find out more about this, where do they go?
Search the Turmeric Co. online and in stores, Sainsbury's and Tesco's, everywhere.
Mate, it's great to see you.
Great.
The only thing better than your product is your smile. And also, you still look like you're playing Premiership football. It's not fair. All right, let's hear it once again, please, for Thomas Robson-Kanu, also known by his friends, Scott, our boss, as Hal. All right, come on.